May I, Steve, just real quick?
Yes, let's do that
Okay.
real quick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
this is information on Western SARE, Western Sustainable Agriculture and Research and Education Programs. They have grants available, and they are very, very interested in the type of conservation and work, water harvesting work and stuff that we're discussing today. So they have grants available. They might find something interesting in there, but I know that they are really interested in supporting what our industry and agriculture is trying to do, and ecology is trying to do to sustain, for sustainable, sustainable agriculture. So,
And Sid, it seems like that they really like it. They really appreciate people trying things.
absolutely.
Yes, I saw that.
Did
And
anyone
I-
not get one?
So like getting support for like trying a new idea out. Or,
Yes.
yeah.
Innovative ideas to do research on harvesting water, you know, how the water affects the roads, how to reduce your woody species. So there's a lot of things that we all are interested in. It's a varied amount, but
Is it USDA driven or?
Yeah,
Mhm.
USDA.
USDA.
Yeah, I'm thinking about talking to Kate Ziegler about the combination of her work and my work overlapping, and maybe doing some research on if you drain your roads and take care of creeks and stuff, how does it affect your local groundwater?
I am sure they would be
And
interested
try
in
to,
that.
try to actually defend that idea. You know, so.
And we can do it on Emily's place.
So we might get together and do some collaborative.
More water.
I've been playing around with this model. It's the soil, it's a SWAT model, and you implement best management practices in the model, and it will relate it to groundwater supplies. But so it's all black box until you calibrate your coefficients, and that's where your work and Kate Ziegler's would come in, is really articulating those coefficients that otherwise you just sort of assume, throw in this box and.
And then, you know, we have coefficients for collateral flow that hits the road from the hillside. You know, there's charts for all of that. And a lot of it's been mapped. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can calculate on certain grass or certain, it's based on geology, slope, ground cover, et cetera, et cetera. You can actually say it has a certain coefficient, you know, and it's gonna have a certain discharge pattern.
Define coefficient for the group.
Hmm?
Define coefficient for the group.
You define it.
It's a number that's like a multiplier.
It's what?
A number that's a multiplier,
Right,
pretty much correct?
yeah.
Sort of
Yeah, so
relative
like
to-
one coefficient might be your assumed cover. And so you
Right.
could model what an area would produce in terms of sediment loading and discharge.
Yeah, all kinds of
um,
stuff.
For an area with a lot of bare soil, and then model it again for an area that perhaps you've implemented rotational grazing and you have improved veg cover. So you could model those two scenarios, but it'd be cool to interact the road interfaces into that model too, so. And there's a really cool website, it's HAWQS, Hawks, and so it makes the model more user-friendly. You could play around in there and probably get some useful data.
So you can calculate that, if you got a road here, and let's say the divide is somewhere back here, you know, so, you know, you can't calculate that over, but if you take X amount of acres, measure it, you have a coefficient for that cover, whatever it is, you can multiply it by acres, and I haven't done it in a while, but I've done it. And you can calculate X amount of rain, how much water is gonna come down and hit that road, plus or minus. I use the estimating of 5 times, just based on observation. Okay, and just to come up with some relative numbers, if you've got X hitting the road, you know, you've got stuff up here, if you multiply it by 5 times, then you've got quite a bit of water. Okay, agenda today, we're gonna go a couple quick things here, and then it's a repeat of yesterday on the road. head down the road. Hey Diana, how you doing?
How are you?
Sorry we're late. It's okay, a long way out. No, you're in time, you're close enough. So, I don't know if you caught on to this, but this workshop is set up in a sequential order that you do this work. First you study some of the facts. Then you go on, you can't do the work until you know where to locate it. You know? You can't gather the cows until you find them. You know? So it's, I don't know if anybody caught on to that, but the next thing we do is we learn how to locate locations. And then the next thing we're gonna do this afternoon is get on the bulldozer. And some of you operators, I might want to stick you on the bulldozer if we have a little time, just say, show us what you do. And this is not a communities thing, but we'll do some goofing around if we have time. Okay? So it's a sequential thing. I really want to hammer into you guys locating stuff, because it's really where people screw this thing up royally. They don't, remember that at the bottom of the hill? We did this dance, and, you know, there was a bunch of stuff happening there. That's, you get the location, you better be looking around. You know, where's the water coming from, where's the water going? So I can hear it. Do me a favor, somewhere in this book there's a little thing that says, where's the water going, where's the water coming from? Try to sort that out for me. Will, before I forget, I need to apologize to you. And where's the other? Hey, Kristen, how you doing? Good to see you. You snuck in under here. Okay. If you haven't calibrated your pace, when we leave, I want you to calibrate your pace out there on the front of the quick tape. Write it down. Somewhere in there's a little deal, there's some of those notes down the side somewhere, but it's not in the text.
Oh, okay,
I think it's in there.
okay.
Steve's getting a little zoomy here. So yesterday, I got a little zoomy. And I totally screwed up that pace thing. You were absolutely right. I just, when you're doing this, there's a lot going on. Okay, and I flipped the numbers in my head. So I'm going out 20 paces. Well, hell, Steve, that's 50 feet, not 25.
Yeah.
And Will's going, no, it's a pace. I said, no, it's feet. What the hell's the matter with you, Will? And I had him and Gerald scratching their heads. Going,
I mean, I know we just went to Highlands, but both of us were like, this isn't how we learned it.
So, apology. You're dead on, and boy, I was dead dense on that one.
So 25 feet on the lead out.
Actually, it's 50. I screwed it up.
Okay.
I screwed it up. You want 50 feet. Did you calibrate your pace? What's your step? Huh? 35. So what? So divided into 100. What's your step? Okay, you need to get your calculator out. If you haven't calculated that, I want you to do it right now. 35 paces into 100. Okay? You have to know that number, and you have to remember it, because that's what you use to pace. Mine is a good one. Mine is 40 paces to 100, so it's 2.5, pretty easy to figure. Super accurate, guys. But close enough. Now, I don't like close enough, but this is close enough. How do you get you here?
Well, I begged is what I did.
It was a long way for you to come by.
Where are your boys? They're supposed to be there.
Chaperone, huh?
55 years now.
55. It was fun working with the grandboys. Those guys were handsome, on-target boys. Yeah. Actually, Grandpa's been on.
Had to get a dozer.
Okay, what'd you come up with?
5.3 feet per pace.
Leon? Huh? No, I don't think so. 100 divided by 35. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
2.8 something, right?
Hunter, did you get yours?
Yeah, it was like 6.7.
Huh?
It was like 6.7.
Okay. So what do we do?
You gotta add it.
So at 2.7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How far did I travel? 10 times 2.7 is 27. You got it? How you do it? Okay, this is, that's how you do it. You guys getting this? Doesn't matter what it is, you gotta calculate it. It's easy to work with the number 10, and then you can extrapolate that to 50, 75, and 100. Okay, I got a real easy one, and I had to have one. Thank God, Okay.
Change your pace so that it's easier to calculate. Now, this is
No, you don't wanna do that. This is your
Your
standard
natural.
pace. Thank you. You wanna do your standard pace. Because if you start doing this, you'll never duplicate it. You'll never duplicate it.
So Steve, actually my pace is 1.7 meters per pace.
Don't just.
I know.
We're
Not
still
gonna call
stuck.
you rabbit.
We're still stuck on, what do we call our system? Not metric, it's
Standard units.
standard units, right?
Or imperial units, American units, imperial standard.
You can work that, you can work that in
All
your.
all the bird survey work that I've ever done of like estimating distances is always in metric.
No, I know, a
So
lot
I-
of stuff
you
is
get,
done
you get
in
really
meters.
accurate, but then when people ask me, I'm like, that's 60 meters. I need to convert that really quickly.
Okay,
Keeps the wheels turning.
It keeps the wheels turning.
okay, all right. So again, the same deal as we did yesterday. We're gonna do practice, practice, practice. Okay, calculate your pace. Just read my notes to make sure I got stuff covered. Okay. Aha moment. Okay. 30 seconds or less. Yesterday, something had to trigger in your brain. You went, aha. I got it, or I understand it, or I didn't realize it. Carl, aha moment from yesterday. Something you learned or something that you just kind of went, oh, that's how it works.
Really, Mark,
Huh? Yeah,
kind of an idea.
yeah. How to build them, or the concept of kicking water off the road. Rick?
So, I realized at some point, there's a lot of those existing lead outs on the road. It might actually be somewhat smart to build the rolling dips in between them and then clean out the existing ones and kind of leave.
Ooh. I like that. You understand what Rick just said?
Yeah.
Say it again.
Okay. We were triggering on a lot of those lead outs. So we're gonna change something. Right now. I'm gonna change something. See, old dogs won't do tricks. Because I came up with a system of trying to put something in between my two rolling dips, just gonna help the whole system. Okay?
Can you speak a little louder, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Turn the fan off and you'll
Turn
turn
that fan off.
I'm gonna throw something at you.
Much better.
How's that? I'll speak up.
Everybody else is okay with it, I'm great.
Okay, we've changed the system then, right now. You hear that?
Yeah, that's cool.
And those are easy to clean out. They need to be straight though, which what we're gonna
They
do,
were
we're gonna clean
originally
them out.
They weren't that short for a long.
What we do, Rick, that's great. I'm glad you came.
I'll send you a bill.
This is okay, we'll get back to everybody. What'd you say?
I'll send you a bill.
That's fine. Road's going that way. Here's the problem with the lead out. Slopes this way. We talked about yesterday. What happens when you roll that back?
Slows water down.
Huh?
Pools.
But why?
You go back uphill.
and going back uphill.
There's
We could make water run uphill without a
Money.
pump.
the state of California's aqueduct system.
Yeah, okay, so, the only difference we're gonna do,
Budget.
Yeah.
Rick, is we're kinda gonna cut a little scallop in here to make sure that we're kinda outsloping the road right here. And then we're just cut, we're not gonna bring material, we just cut a new V ditch out there. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
We're gonna use that location in the opening, but we need to straighten it out, because these curl back uphill and you lose grade on them.
Yesterday, those turnouts, a lot of them, you're gauging them to be like a 1% slope, and that's not steep enough to get the material continuing to move and flush out.
It isn't, but you gotta work with what you got. Yeah, don't work. You know, 1% is not good, but sometimes even with moderate slope like that, sometimes you just have to put more in essence,
Yeah.
to handle more sediment. Or it's gonna take a little more maintenance 5 years down the road. Okay, good point. Zach,
I thought it was really interesting when we were doing
pick up.
when we were doing the flagging out there. There was one point in the road where we actually checked it. It undulated a little bit, and you're going uphill on the side that seemed like the way that you should be going. But then when you actually checked it, it was like, oh wait, the grade actually. This spot you should kick it to the other side, but that's going to be a pain in the butt. And if you go another 10 yards, then it goes back to the other way. So let's just go a little bit further.
You already said, location, 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 just like real estate. You know,
And
pick
the,
the easiest first. It's
and
like
the other
war,
side
kill the
was
easiest
the
first.
shallower slope.
Kristen, what'd you learn yesterday in class?
I'll give you one at the end of
Make
today.
it.
I'll give you one later today.
Kristen's from the-
They got already.
I'm gonna introduce Kristen. Kristen, introduce yourself.
Oh, did you guys do introductions already? Sorry guys, I forgot my map, so I'm like,
You got there pretty quick.
well, I got some help. I work for the Forest Service, the Kiowa and Rita Blanca National Grasslands. The Forest Service manages the national grasslands. And our office is in Clayton, but some of the Kiowa National Grassland is out by Roy, Mills, Gladstone area. We have a lot of Forest Service roads that are notoriously challenging.
Water challenge. Did you read
Can you
this?
tell me what click
It's not a road problem, Kristen, it's a water management problem. What do you wanna get out of this class?
I wanna learn how to read the land better. You know, I'm not an engineer, I'm never gonna be one, but as a wildlife biologist, you know, you were telling us about how much sediment goes into, for us, the Canadian River, just from our Forest Service roads. And if that's something we can impact for the better, that's something I wanna learn about.
Let's increase forage on the uplands. No, it's all connected, it's all connected. Kristen and I had the pleasure of working together. We did a project for the Forest Service over at Mills Canyon a year ago. And, I got to meet Kristen over there, so.
That project saved a lot of sediment from going in the river over
Yeah.
itself.
Nope, it was a good project. Good bunch of people to work with too. Your Forest Service people over there were a good bunch. Leon?
Also,
Oh,
he
excuse
put up
me.
with the Forest Service, so
Huh?
he's a good one too.
Well, no, part of that putting up with is you guys weren't bad to work with. You weren't like some of these, oh God, some of these guys. You know, I mean, you literally wanted to, yeah, go ahead, Leon.
When we went down to that paddle trail, we thinking the distance in between the dips, that I wanted to run it down, and you corrected me on that.
But you corrected yourself.
Well, you gave me that look, so I
What's the look? Like, what the hell is he saying? But it was neat, we were having this discussion, and maybe I did give you a look, but, like, and then he goes, no, too far. And I said, but that's that we need to have. He caught himself, you know. Hunter,
I never used a kilometer before, so I learned how to use that and how important it is not to guess. Like how, yeah, it's really on it and you can't really get it with your eyes.
you understand the importance of it. Beats guessing, doesn't it? I've got a broken clinometer and I can't find my other one. I finally figured that, I think I was messing with it and I held it up, you guys, a bunch of you guys were working with me yesterday and I couldn't figure out what the hell. I looked through it one time and I knew I was looking downhill and it said I was looking uphill, so this thing's going back to the shop. Eric?
Just probably, like yesterday, taking consideration of the cattle trail, I would have never overlooked all that
That's why you
stuff.
got it.
Yeah, so,
Literally, sometimes I have to do this. You know, what is around us? We get focused on the road, right? Just look at the road. And we do that lots of times when we're working on the road too. But you got to. But sometimes you just gotta back up and go, what's going on? Kenny?
I mean, there's a lot of moments I learned a bunch, but my boss and I argue a lot about turning those turnouts 30 degrees, and you gave me a real good solid way to argue with him. I think I can win now.
What's that?
The turnout, getting that 30 degrees right, to turn them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the argument is what?
He thinks I don't turn them out enough. Sometimes I turn them out too much. Blah blah blah. It all depends.
But the defense for what you do is site specific, correct?
Yes.
What we're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
And or where you got more grade. I mean, if you're gonna, okay, this is 30 degrees, that's great. But if you got more grade over here, you got 2% and 4%. Over here, where am I gonna move? And then did you hear the discussion about the 90 degree?
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I'm going off a damn hill like this.
So, yeah, I mean,
Over in
it's
Texas. You know, Texas does have some hills. Okay, so yeah, adaptability to site, location, make it fit, make it work. Make sure you have a buffer zone down here where you're dumping it in some good grass or something. Shannon?
I learned a lot yesterday too. If there was just like one concrete thing, it would probably be learning to use the clinometer. I used it in
Good.
college, but not
Good.
enough.
Did I beat on that enough?
I think so. I'm not sure.
If you need a clinometer, get on the internet, go to Forestry Supply, spend your $150. If you break your clinometer like I'd break them, you send it back and you get it fixed for $90. Jody?
I can't even say, there was a bunch of different things, but just mainly shortcuts, learning how to pace off to set up for the 30-degree angle and not trust your eye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't trust your eyes.
Don't guess.
Yeah.
Unless you're, it's good. It's good to work with a dummy buddy that likes to guess and then you beat his butt with the clinometer and then you collect all his beer. Well,
I think I'm owed some beer from yesterday. I think I won some beer yesterday.
you probably did. You probably did. I probably owed you a case or two.
I enjoyed thinking about in these kind of productive years like this, where that sediment plume can grass in and you can get some really productive localized areas. So thinking about, where's those inflection points on the landscape to site these, and the water harvesting component of, there's an opportunity to put a bunch of water into this site. So not just, where's this going to best drain the road, but also where's the best beneficial use for re-watering some productive little Vegas.
And connecting stuff together. Okay, we're gonna work on that today. Thank you. There's a point there that I want you to focus a little more on the site you choose to dump the water in, thinking about productive landscape.
And
just pay attention to that.
And what you had said about seeding some of those areas with cool seasons, because they do accumulate a lot of gravels, so you get some of those gravelly soils where blue stem does really well.
Oh God, it just goes nuts, guys. I tell you what, we did this deal in Arizona, got 100% germination of every species in the 50 rolling dips we built. Man, I jumped for joy on that one. I mean, I looked like a hero. I had a good rangeland guy working with me that he said, okay, these are what we're gonna plant. And we went over how we're gonna do it, and he said, that's fine. Emily?
There was nothing specific for me growing up on a ranch without equipment. Never had the opportunity to really mess with roads and stuff. And then, I ran rivers for like 4 years. So it was really helpful for me to put some numbers and some theory behind what I think I see on the landscape and learn what slopes are correct for certain applications and things like that.
Good.
It's just overall really
Good.
good to grasp that a little better.
Brian? Don't take for granted what's there and it's always been there, like that road, well, why don't you just,
Keep talking, I'm listening.
abandon the road and use the other one, and, it's always been that way. It's, the first time I ever seen it, 60 years ago, it was that way, and, never crossed my mind to, reroute that road or do away with one of them.
Right.
You get used to stuff, and, that's just the way it is. We do it.
Good point, and I drove that road, I went through that loop this morning, and there's an interesting happening there. And this is what roads do. Everybody knows what a head cut is, right, or erosional head cut. And they are insidious, because once you get that drop, it's, good grazing plans will heal a lot of them that aren't too big, okay, over time. But boy, they're tough to heal, and sometimes they'll work out a whole valley and screw stuff up.
Yep.
So, there's a windmill down there. You guys remember this location? We were standing right here, trying to flesh that deal out. We had a cow trail coming in here, and water going down here, and we proved with the kilometer that the water was going down the road. Well, there's a little swell that comes down here, a little valley, collects water, okay? And it will actually run if you dump some water on there. Right here is a head cut. Why is that head cut there?
Running fast. Running fast.
But why?
Huh? The old road.
Huh?
Is it the old road?
Okay, here's what happens to your drainages when you dump water from a road in here. I've seen it time after time after time after time after time after time after time. Here's how it works geomorphically hydrology. I mean, if I'm wrong, you say I'm wrong. This channel formed over geologic time. It's figured out its dynamics, okay, based on its watershed and how much water works over time. And it's, if everything's okay, it's a stable channel. You dump more water in it, what do you do to this system here? Huh?
You overload it.
You overload it. You overload it. And you destabilize, you put a head cut in. I don't know, I'd have to walk down there, that head cut might have come all the way up here, I don't know.
There's actually a head cut above it a little bit.
Well, it's probably,
Above the road.
that's part of this deal too,
No.
because these roads
No.
pound this out and then you get a
There's a
head
head cut
cut.
above the road though.
Huh?
There's another cut above the road.
Okay, but do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This thing is collateral, you know, and this is what we start fixing. In my notes, we talk about, by doing this, we decrease erosion, okay? There's where we do it. This collateral stuff, okay. Ethan?
Probably the being able to identify where your water problems is on your road, like with the large mass of sediment and with the plants. You know, in some places they're really, growing up real good. In other places you got nothing, it's bare. Being able to identify the places where you got erosion in the road, probably.
Jeremiah?
I learned a lot of stuff. One of the things that stuck out for me was like what Brian was saying, as far as the prioritization of decommissioning roads, and if two roads go to the same place, and then prioritizing maintenance and everything else. That was big for me. I enjoyed the efficiency conversation that the cat trainer was talking about.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I learned a lot. Those are some of the bigger things, some of the things that stand out.
Mike?
I had two. One is that I've got too much water running over the road at one of the bends, right at the top of my hill. And it's causing rills across the road. So I realized I've got to break that water up. The other aha moment was I've got to get you to come back to the rest.
I'm trying to figure that out. We may just, when we're done this, since I've got this dozer, cause I'm not gonna let it go. I'm gonna
You're
tell 'em
welcome.
sorry, I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep it.
You bet.
Yeah. Diana, what'd you learn yesterday?
Washing and ironing it.
I've worked for the Gregories, and I guarantee they're great people to work. They're hospitable. I've been over there, I've worked down there in Diana's. Why don't you come over, get out of your camper, come over and eat with us, you know? She makes a good brisket, too. Sid?
Well, I ended up missing part of it.
Well, that's okay. This is not what you
But-
missed, it's what you learned.
My aha moment was how many people are interested in this problem and want to fix it. That
Yeah,
was
we
my
really
really
did a good
big,
turnout, yeah.
yeah.
Renee, did you pick up some stuff through the lens? And not
yeah.
that you're here to learn about this, but you hear it.
Well, what happens to me, a lot of times I pick up a lot more when I go back and watch all the footage.
Oh,
Then it
sure,
almost kind of
sure.
aha,
Because
so
you're
then
concentrating on what's going on.
But I wouldn't, I don't think I've ever really looked at an animal trail as bringing water, or that might have been a road before, possibly an older road where the animal trail was.
Animal trails, unbelievable. And some of them are, I mean, it's just like this, a web.
And
Albert,
they'll wash out in a day's time, 2 foot.
Albert, would you?
I liked your quick and dirty triangle to get your 30-degree angle on your turnout.
See, we learned that today, we're gonna do it again, but it's gonna be quick. And today we focus more on, studying the road surface, seeing what's going on. And we're gonna skip the lead outs, Rick. And we're gonna, unless we have to use one, they're not totally out of bounds. We may have to use some because they're in a good spot.
Right.
You know, Lauren's no dummy, you know, he put them in a good spot.
That's my lead out moment. I didn't realize how close I was reading the washing, where the water's washing
See,
it
it's just
out.
that natural, you've done enough to watch it, you know. So
Have a
we're
good
looking
picture.
at good spots, maybe better spots to dump it. Jacob?
One thing I really enjoyed, especially, was
Speak up a little.
Sorry, one thing I really enjoyed, and it was great to reiterate some of the concepts, was when Amina and I drove out of here. We stopped at a couple of spots and talked about parts of the road. So that was cool.
I forgot to give you an assignment last night. I was gonna say, I forgot to do this. Tell me how many rolling dips we need between here and that next house. I've got two numbers, 50 and 70.
Oof.
Units of work, which include mud holes and stuff. I haven't quite. Did you see those little cuts in the side of the road?
Yeah.
I just zipping along on the dozer and I was just kind of saying, well, maybe here, maybe there. What it did, it gave me a count, kind of. It's not, I gotta sort them out, but, you know, I've come up with two numbers, so. Yeah, that's a great road that's really screwed up, especially the county stuff. And, yeah. Lauren?
Like I said, I was surprised how well I read the road to get my turnouts.
Yeah.
I didn't build them right, but I got them right.
Yeah.
Pretty much right
Nice,
spot.
good
That
spacing.
really hit me because I figured I'd be way off.
Amina?
Yeah, on our way out, we were listening to a song actually, and it talked about, we're so caught up in our minds that we lose our senses. And on that road especially, it seems like there was folks that used to want to blade that road and want to help. And now the county's saying, well, if you don't have the insurance and the liability, you better not touch it or we'll sue you.
Yeah,
So
going
here
in
we
there,
have like a human
Yeah.
problem. And
It's a
instead of
human
just
problem.
that relationship being there, we can't just, fix what's on both sides of the road and the watershed too. And
It's
I
like,
guess,
it's like the rancher who wasn't willing to say, yeah, you can have a little dirt and I lost a little grass, but you really fixed the problem and thank you. I mean, he just
to the back end of my fence right now.
So it really comes back to a relationship thing.
Human communication, very good.
And then I guess I wanna share with everybody too that we're talking about something that folks call road maintenance. But that word, road maintenance, it doesn't get a lot of grants. So I wanted to just share.
Water harvesting.
What's that?
Water
Yeah,
harvesting.
other kind of catchphrases, because we're water harvesting, we're reducing the amount of sediment loading to all of our streams and rivers, and the mora is listed for E. coli. That's one of the things that it's broken for, is too much bacteria. And so when you add sediment to a river, you increase the bacteria loading 100 to 10,000 times. So what you're doing is clean water work. You can get 319 funds
No, I know,
to
we
get
did a
that
bunch of
kind of
this
work.
We did the whole vial of it all in 319.
And you can call it carbon sequestration, because all your fine sediments are silting in and becoming carbonated and growing grass. So we're doing climate change mitigation here. And I don't even care if you don't believe in climate change. You can put it in your grant application and get good grants funded by using the right verbs and the right words. And road maintenance isn't it, but
No, I
we're
know.
doing all kinds of other good stuff that you can
Okay,
throw those words.
you know that
Academic.
little one-page deal that I had on road drainage defined? I tried to touch all that. I want you to read that.
Yeah, the watershed condition function.
What I had,
you're
yeah.
talking
I want you to read that and just kind of critique it and see where we can go with that.
Nice,
Okay,
I
I'd like to
will.
work with you on that.
Cool.
Because I want to have something, I made that to hand to people to say, this isn't just road work.
Yeah,
It's multifaceted, and you cover a lot of different things in it, just like you said.
threatened endangered species
God,
habitat
you can
improvement,
just,
you know, all
you could
kinds of.
stretch it a mile if you wanted to.
Cool, I would enjoy to work on it.
You know how you get
Pasture
stuff done?
restoration.
Yeah, you really get stuff done, I mean, and you got the right idea. Bullshit and bluff.
Make pretty words in your application, so I thought I should.
Do you have a cards and your email
Yeah.
address?
Yeah. I actually grabbed a pile and I'll leave them here on the table.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
And then I've got your, you're home to sleep now, I've got your stuff too. Yes.
Can I give a direct example of how what we did in Mills Canyon affects wildlife for the better?
Sure. Yeah, a little
So-
testimony here.
So we have,
Speak up,
the
good.
Forest Service has a couple miles of roads that go, you know, from the Mills Rim, Canyon River, Canyon Rim, all the way down to the river, and then across the river. And it used to be this big old concrete forward crossing with a deep pool on one side, and the approach to the river was just constantly a mud hole. You know, you're getting stuck and then you're pushing yourself out, and anyways, it was just a direct line for the road and the bank dirt to just go straight into the river. So we worked with Steve. As a wildlife biologist, we're concerned about fish passage up and down. For when the Canadian flows, we want the fish to be able to have it. I mean, we literally had a dam in the Canadian River that nobody talked about. So removing that, but then these, you know, some fish are sensitive and they're not on the list to be proposed for endangered species, but we're concerned enough that we wanna do good for them now so that they don't ever get listed. And one of those is this cute little fish called the suckermouth minnow. Poor fish, I call it a wimpy fish. They don't know they can jump, and so they can't even get across like a cobble road crossing. So what Steve helped us do is we improved the approach to the crossing, took out the concrete part and then did like a nice stone inset. But we, you know, twofold, we opened up the river to flow and we reduced so much sediment, which helps the little garter snakes that look for fish in the river, that helps the fish with the water quality, you know, all the invertebrates that they eat. So just, that's where I see the big, you know, the big deal about this. And even if you don't have the Canadian River running through your property, you have a drainage that will go to the Mora, to the Canadian, and, you know, impacts fishing and water quality. So it's just cool. I think this is really cool stuff.
Yeah, we had direct sediment contribution
Yeah.
coming down that road, and it actually goes back up that road quite a ways. Right down the road, right into the river. So here's what we had this old crossing that had this slope that way.
was real high right here, and those fish couldn't get over the top of it. So basically what we did, we still have a crossing, it's big boulders, but they're inset in the river. It's shaped geomorphically, and then in the center, because it's gotta be shaped like the river. In the center, and you can drive through this, let me take these bumps off here. In the center, we had a low flow crossing. So when you got low flow, all the water's stuck right there. It's at bed level, fish go right through it. And all the other aquatic
And in
guys.
the approaches, you added several rolling dips.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, the approach is coming in here, we're shooting dirt, and so we drain these roads on each side.
Yeah, and the whole thing still looks great. It was done last November, and we had some big flows in May, and it held up really great, the rolling dips and everything. So,
Thank you.
That's downstream of the mansion, or
yes.
those concrete?
Bottom of Mills Canyon. Okay, saddle up. Let's go down the road. We'll go right down. Follow me. I'm lost. Bring your water, bring your hat, bring your books, bring your clinometer. We're gonna do the same thing as we did yesterday, just move a little faster. Break it into some groups and just kind of, because I want to get to the canyon rim and look at that.
Yes.
And I got a separate, I'm gonna also, we'll start wherever I figure out where we're at down there. Just follow me. There's water in my truck. I didn't forget your question about an A, I had a B, C roads. Okay, oh, and Brian, let me show you something real quick. Brian, Carl, and Lauren, after my little route this morning, I'm gonna tell you, there's the windmill.
Yeah, my back.
Here's the road out here, here's the road out here. Here's the main road. Because of this drainage that comes down here, I would close this side. Okay, this is just my analysis, and leave this. Because I believe this drainage in this area in here will be more productive. We're gonna grow more grass here, plus then we drain this road, and we're gonna get some grass in here. But I just feel that getting out of this little drainage in the little valley will help. I mean, if I was making the call, I'd make it based, the road's about the same length, they're both easy to drain, but this creates a problem in here where we drive across this drainage. And if it was my call, I would close that road, leave this open, do mostly the ability to, of production.